Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our Lunch and Learn. I know we have people who will be coming in through the beginning, but I did just want to start because we do have a special guest doing our announcements and doing our icebreaker. So before we have our Try You team here, we have Arizona State, University of Arizona, and NEU. We will do a quick little announcements of what we have coming up as a group of friends to share to everyone. But I'm going to let Roxanne from ABOR present just a little bit and do our icebreaker and do some of our announcements for the next month.
Thank you so much, Graciela. This is such a timely icebreaker, I hope, to kick off the Try You admissions updates. And also I'll be sharing just a little bit about college application campaigns. So while everyone's kind of settling into this lunch and learn, and maybe while you're eating some lunch, I would love for you all to type into chat or feel free to unmute yourself and just share why you believe students should apply to college and or why you applied to college. So feel free to drop it into chat or unmute yourself to share why you believe students should apply to college and or why you applied to college. Get us in the college application spirit.
I encourage students to apply so that they can have options, even if they're unsure about what they want to do after high school. If they don't apply, they don't have everything they need to make going to college an option for them. So I encourage them to apply so that it can be an option for them, after high school.
Thank you for sharing that. I see in the chat too that quite a few others are sharing it's to have the option. Love that. See, I applied to college. Frank, I see you shared I applied to college so I could gain experience, not for myself, but also within the job field. That's definitely why I applied to college, was to have a great career. Awesome. Job opportunities, options, passions, pursuing career. I love all of these. Lifelong learning. Yes, Emily. Who said parents maybe? Danielle. And I just saw you earlier today too. I love that one. I feel like that's a little bit with everyone sometimes. Awesome. I see just lots of opportunities, options. These are awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And these are amazing things to be sharing actually this Friday. So this Friday is actually Why Apply Day. So this is in partnership with the American College Application Campaign. And Why Apply Day is a national movement to have educators like yourself either share why you applied to college and or why you believe your students should apply to college, so that we can, one, kick off college application season nationally, although it's already kicked off here in Arizona because all of our state institutions already have their applications open. Yay. And to just really encourage students to think about post-secondary options. So Why Apply Day is a social media movement. And so everything that you all have shared in the chat, I encourage you to share that same thing with your students this Friday, whether it's via social media, whether you want to send them a quick email, whether you want to write it on your, in your classroom somewhere and encourage your students to answer the same questions. I was just going to share that there's actually on the American College Application Campaign website, which I'm typing into chat. It's like the longest webpage ever. But there's actually a toolkit on there that you can utilize. So you can download like a Why Apply page where students can write down why they're going to apply or why they think their peers should apply. You can also use it for yourself. I know on Friday, if you're following the Why Apply Day hashtag, you'll see lots of pictures of student faces that are going to be sharing why they apply. So it's just this activity was just a fun way to kind of kick off Friday, Why Apply Day, and give you something that you can already use to be sharing with your students. So thanks for sharing with us today. And feel free to utilize that toolkit and encourage Why Apply Day among your peers, or among your peers and also among your students. Then I just wanted to share one other thing, and that's the Arizona College Application Campaign. So Why Apply Day kicks off college application campaign season. We've already kicked off college application campaign season here in Arizona. And whether you've already planned a college application campaign event at your school, already have a date decided, or if you don't have a date decided, just know that there are some tools and resources to help with your college application campaign. And those can be found on easyregents.edu/easycac. Arizona College Application Campaign is really intended for the amazing schools like you or community partners to be holding events with Arizona high school students to help them with exploring colleges. So this webinar is perfect today, or this Lunch and Learn is perfect today, because we're going to see all about how we can be supporting students and educating students on the amazing options that we have here in our state for students in terms of college, in terms of universities. And then also just making sure that students are receiving the support to actually apply to college. We know that, especially among first generation college going students, having that support to complete a college application is sometimes challenging, right? And so we want to make sure to help eliminate barriers that students might be facing when completing these college applications. So by hosting college application campaign events within your schools or within your community organizations, we can help more students access college applications, complete college applications, and know what steps they need to take after completing their college application to be able to enroll in a post-secondary institution. So feel free to go to the website or scan the QR code. And on that website, you'll see a digital toolkit that's free for everyone. It includes lots of resources on how to prepare students for college applications and how to coordinate volunteers who might be supporting your events. It also includes links to all of the Arizona college applications, our community college applications, and our tribal college applications. And then we also have videos from all three of our institutions that are going to be speaking today for volunteers that are intended to share a little bit more about the application and how they can support students with completing the application. So feel free to check out that webpage. And with that, I'll pass it over to Graciela, who's going to share some Ask Benji updates.
Hi, perfect. My name is Graciela and I work with the Ask Benji team. I did want to remind all our Ask Benji partner schools and districts that we will be starting our senior messaging to students this fall on October 10th. We'll be sending it out 2:30 to all our partner students. And the fall themes that we'll be looking at October and November will be our welcome message. We'll be doing a what students are planning after high school survey or questionnaire, sending up the Gear Up launch guide, talking about how to create the FSA ID before we head into hopefully FAFSA in December. So we'll have a good couple months with the students before the FAFSA application opens up. So just a reminder to our partner schools, if you've already had your onboarding meeting with Michael, Lizette, or I, that's great. If you haven't, and you're thinking, I don't have enough time before October 10th, that's a perfectly fine. We can connect with you afterwards, but we do want to make sure that you get the toolkit because we have our parent letter in English and Spanish. So you can send out to the students and the parents so they know what's happening. So October 10th doesn't come as a surprise. And then we've also made some social media posts that you can use in a newsletter, websites, some Benji graphics. So I even have an example of some of the Instagram items that I've created just so you can put that on there so students start recognizing that Benji is part of their school. So you can definitely check out our educator toolkit. And that's all I have. So that's the end of announcements. Thank you so much, Roxanne, for talking about the college application. And I'm going to kick it over to our first speaker. We have NEU starting us with the Try You admission update. So I'm going to let, perfect. She's already gone and done it. Perfect. So I'll stop talking and I'll let you take over.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Graciela. And thank you, Roxanne, as well for sharing all that great information. So hello, everybody. I'm very excited to be here today to, first of all, kick us off in our Try You updates and to share with you some really great information about NAU. So we're going to do an overview and then we're going to do a little bit of updates about what to expect for this upcoming year. So my name is Kyla. I am the Assistant Director of Phoenix and Tucson Recruitment for Northern Arizona University. I'm actually regionally based down here in Phoenix. I've probably met quite a few of you before at your high schools. But again, super excited to be here with you all today to share these updates. So before we start our presentations, we just like to take the time to acknowledge the land that our university resides on, being that it is very sacred to several Native American tribes in Northern Arizona. So Northern Arizona University sits at the base of the San Francisco Peaks on homeland sacred to Native Americans throughout the region. We honor their past, present, and future generations who've lived here for millennia and will forever call this place home. So we're going to get started by talking about one of my favorite places in the whole country. I don't just say that because I work for NAU and I went to NAU as a student. I genuinely really love Flagstaff. It's one of my favorite cities to go to in the state of Arizona and really across the US. I go up there as often as I possibly can. So if you are unfamiliar with Flagstaff, we are located about 2.5 hours north of the Phoenix area, about 120 miles or so. What's unique about Flagstaff is that we are at a higher elevation. So we are at 7,000 feet. And because of that, we do actually experience all 4 beautiful seasons. So we're kind of right in the midst of transitioning from summer to fall. All the leaves are starting to change color. It's getting a little bit cooler. Here in Phoenix, we know that doesn't necessarily happen all the time, but we're very excited for that change in the weather. In the winter time, that's when we start to get a little bit of snow. So we do actually get about 80 inches of snowfall every single year throughout the winter months. And because of our elevation, we have never hit a day above 100 degrees ever. So I always like to share that with students in the other parts of the state, being that we know it's about 100 degrees for 6 months out of the year, and then we finally get a little bit of a break. Flagstaff is not necessarily like that at all. We are also a dark sky city in Flagstaff, so we take some extra precautions to preserve the beauty of our night sky. So oftentimes you can see some beautiful views of the night sky as you're walking through the city. We're very, very close to the Grand Canyon as well as Sedona. So we're only about an hour and a half from the Grand Canyon and about a half hour from Sedona by car. And we have a bunch of different things to check out within our city limits as well as within Northern Arizona in general. So a little bit about NAU. NAU is currently the smallest public university in the state. We are by no means small. We do have about 21,000 students at our Flagstaff campus. Our campus itself is about 1.5 miles long by about a half a mile wide. So pretty traversable from one end to the other in about 15 to 20 minutes or so. Just a little breakdown of our student population. So most of our students are coming from the state of Arizona. We are a state serving institution. But we do get quite a few students coming from out of state as well. So a lot of the popular out of state states, I would say, are California, Nevada, and also Hawaii is one of them. We do get quite a few students from Hawaii every single year. So as of right now, we are a Hispanic serving institution, which is very exciting. About 25% of our enrollment at NAU is Hispanic or Latine students. About half of our student population are first generation college students, which means they're the first in their family to pursue that 4-year bachelor's degree. And we have over 80 different tribal nations represented on our campus from all across North America, which is very cool. A little bit about our degree programs. So as of right now, we do offer a little over 100 different bachelor's degree programs at the Flagstaff campus. And we do have 7 different academic colleges that house degree programs themselves. The 2 other ones that aren't listed here are the Graduate College and the Honors College, which we will talk about in just a little bit. But something that I really love about NAU is that we really try to keep our class sizes as small as possible. So the average class size is 37, which is pretty typical of what students will see in their high school classrooms. But I can attest to this as students get into their specific degree programs, their class sizes will shrink quite a bit. Anywhere from 15 to 20 students is pretty common in most degree specific courses that they'll take during their junior and senior year. We do also have several different statewide options as well as online too. So students don't have to pursue their full education in Flagstaff. We are partnered with quite a few, I think all of the different community colleges in the state of Arizona. And we do offer full bachelor's degree programs at those locations. We do also have several different online programs, and those programs are continuing to evolve and be created every single year. So as I mentioned, we do have an honors college at NAU. The honors college is what I like to describe as if you picked up a liberal arts college and then dropped it right in the middle of NAU's campus. Our honors college is the smallest honors college in the state. So we have about 1,300 students total that are within our honors college at the Flagstaff campus. And we even have a smaller class size for those who are in the honors college. So again, we really try to make those classes small in general at the university, but students who are within the honors college will always have those class sizes when they come in all the way up until when they graduate. So some really cool things that honors students get to participate in. One of those things is actually listed here on the slide. It's in the picture that you're seeing there. That is the Grand Canyon semester. That is where students can actually spend an entire semester in the Grand Canyon, learning all about the culture, the history, and also learning a bunch of different kinds of painting, art, things like that from very well-renowned people who are within Northern Arizona. So that photo right there is a well-renowned artist that is actually in Flagstaff and based there. They do have a little bit of more discussion-based coursework rather than lecture style, so students really learn from each other. And then some benefits are listed over there to the right. So things like scholarships and internships, there are very particular scholarships that are available for only honors students as well as internship opportunities. Students do get priority housing registration as well as course registration each semester as well. And students do have the opportunity to live in the honors residential village should they decide to apply to honors and if they are admitted. So what they're looking for in particular is at least a 3.0 unweighted GPA in the core classes, which we'll also talk about in just a little bit. And they will also ask students to write 2 different essays. The essay prompts are online right now for fall 2024, if you would like to check those out. And students do need to submit a resume or summary of accomplishments as well. So they do evaluate students pretty holistically within the Honors College, whereas us in admissions, we're really only looking at that unweighted GPA in the core classes, which we'll talk about as well. So a little bit about campus life. We do currently have 27 different living communities for our students. I would highly recommend that if you are working with any students who are interested in NAU and they have very specific housing preferences in mind, I encourage them to apply for housing as soon as possible. So our housing application does open in October. It usually opens around mid-October every single year, and it is a first come, first served basis. So at that time, we will open the housing application for every single student at the university, as well as incoming students. And students can choose to live wherever they would like to. They can actually choose their housing usually around January or February. So the earlier they do the housing application, let's say in October, November, the earlier they will get to choose their housing preferences come January, February time. If students are living on campus, it is required that they purchase a meal plan, just so you are all aware. Meal plans can range in value, and I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like as well in just a couple slides. We also really encourage students to get involved on campus. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. We have over 350 different clubs and organizations, opportunities for leadership. We do also participate in Greek life as well. And we do have some fabulous opportunities for things like recreation. We have a very high emphasis on health promotion at NAU. So there are a lot of opportunities for health classes, exercise classes. We do have a full health and learning center with a variety of different fun things for students to take advantage of as well. And we are an NCAA D1 school for athletics too. We do have about 15 different athletic programs. When it comes to the classroom, so making sure students are successful in their coursework, there are also a lot of opportunities for that as well. So first and foremost, I really encourage students to participate in undergraduate research if that is something that they are wanting to do. A lot of the research that is done at NAU is actually done by undergraduate students with the help of professors. There is an annual undergraduate research symposium. We have a full center called Boundaryless at NAU, which really focuses on entrepreneurship and inventing. And then we also have some fabulous study abroad programs as well. So we rank in the top 10 consistently for study abroad programs, especially the Interdisciplinary Global Program, which is a year-long study abroad program for students who are studying within the business realm or within STEM. So if you have anybody that might be interested in that, I would absolutely point them that way. We also have a really great career development office as well that really works to support students wherever they are at. So whether they're wanting to get a job on campus, looking for an internship in particular, or maybe looking for that dream graduate school or that dream career post college graduation. So a little bit more of what we offer in terms of student support. So yes, we want to support students academically, but we also want to make sure that students are supported as a whole person as well. So some of our resources that we really encourage students to utilize are listed here. So for example, our Office of Inclusion, or IMQ, that's what we call it for short, that houses all of our multicultural and LGBTQIA student associations, as well as providing professional as well as peer mentoring to students as well. Our Office of First Gen Programs, if you're working with a first generation college student and they're considering NAU, there's some wonderful programs to help support students as they make their transition to NAU and then all throughout their time at the university as well. We do have some great support centers as well in terms of academics. So we do have a full Lumberjack Mathematics Center. We have a Writing Commons on campus, and then we also have an Academic Success Center as well, with over 120 different subjects being offered in terms of tutoring services. And we do have a full campus medical services office on campus, counseling services, and then again, lots of different offices that have to do with health promotion as well. So a couple of quick updates for you all. So as of this upcoming year, so for fall 2024 and beyond, we have started this process called universal admissions. What that entails is if a student is not directly admissible to NAU when they apply as a first-year student, what we will do is we will offer them admission to any of the local community colleges that we are partnered with that are listed here on the screen. So if you do see any students in that situation, you have questions about it, you are welcome to reach out to us and we can give you some further details from there. We have also changed our admission requirements for assured admission to NAU. So what that looks like now is students do need to have at least a 2.75 unweighted GPA in the core classes in order to be guaranteed admission to the university. In the past, it was a 3.0 that they needed, which is exciting. We are also offering a brand new degree program within our College of Engineering called Immersive Media and Games. I know that video games and animation are kind of an up and coming thing, and it's very popular right now with a lot of students. So we have developed this program to meet that need. We also do have the Indigenous Peoples Living community that actually started last year, and that is a full community in which Indigenous students can choose to live. There's a lot of different things that go on throughout the semester to make sure that students are connected with each other as well. Just a quick overview of our admission requirements too. So I just wanted to quickly show you our core classes that we look at in terms of admissions. So this is what specifically we are going to look for when students apply to the university. So we are going to look at their unweighted GPA in these very specific courses. And as I mentioned, if a student has at least a 2.75 unweighted GPA in these core classes, they are automatically admitted to the university. We will absolutely still consider students with at least a 2.5 unweighted GPA in the core classes as well. Real quickly, here's our cost of attendance. So this is our current tuition rate for Arizona residents. And down below that are some other anticipated costs that students should expect. So things like housing for living on campus, meal plan if they are living on campus, and then some other expenses that we just encourage students to budget for. So things like personal, transportation costs, etc. We do have a brand new financial aid program that just started in fall 2023 called Access to Excellence. This is a financial aid program in which if we see that a student's family income as demonstrated on their FAFSA is $65,000 or below, which is about half the state of Arizona, we will make sure that their tuition is covered through the form of gift aid. So that includes their merit-based scholarship and typically additional grants that they qualify for. This program automatically applies to Indigenous students as well. So those who are enrolled in any of Arizona's 22 tribal nations. There is a FAFSA component to that. So students do need to still submit their FAFSA regardless in order to be considered for this program. So yes, very exciting. And then our scholarship information is staying the same as last year. So no big changes, which is great. So everything is still exactly the same as it was for fall 2023. This is all based on students' unweighted GPA, again, in those core classes. And these are all automatic scholarships when students are admitted to the university. So they don't have to apply for these separately. They just receive the scholarship that they qualify for upon admission. And we do need students to accept their offer by May 1st of their senior year in order for that scholarship to follow them into their first year at NAU. So our application is open. It does open in July of every single year. We do encourage students to self-report their coursework from those core classes in particular directly onto their admission application so we can go ahead and evaluate them. They will get a quicker admission decision that way, but they are also welcome to send us a transcript if they are not wanting to do so. We do not have an application fee for Arizona residents at all, so they don't need to worry about paying any money to apply to NAU. And then if students are interested in honors, they do need to be admitted to NAU first, and again, meet those specific requirements in order to be considered. So last thing here, just a quick little timeline for everyone. So as I mentioned, our fall 2024 and our spring 2025 application are now open. The Honors College application opened on September 1st, and the actual housing application itself, as I mentioned, will open around October, mid-October or so. The FAFSA is going to be opening in December. And then in the spring, we do encourage students to make sure to submit their FAFSA by April 1st. That is our priority date. And we encourage them to accept their offer of admission by May 1st. That is all I have for you. I am going to go ahead and turn it over to our friends from the U of A, but thank you all so much.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Julia Eischeid. I am one of our assistant directors in our Southern Arizona recruitment team. I am here in Old Main, on our main campus, and happy to be joining you all and also provide some good updates. But first, here in sunny Tucson, we do want to acknowledge that we are on the ancestral lands of the O'odham people, while Tucson is being home to the O'odham and the Yaqui. But for campus, we are 1 square mile, a giant box, if you will. And it's really just a great place. It's, to me, I also went here. I've grown up here, but it's almost like a different experience when you are on campus versus just in Tucson. So I always encourage a student to explore campuses while they are looking to see where they want to attend, because that can really tell that full story if they feel immersed in that campus so that they can succeed for their academics. But a little bit about Arizona. We are a Tier 1 top 20 public research institution for the West, top 10 public in the West as well. We've got a lot going on, but we really don't want to just focus in on the facts and figures for students, because we know that's not the full picture, and they're going to be interested in all of the many other things that we have to offer them, which I'm going to go over right now. These are all of our specific colleges within the University of Arizona, and we have over 150 different programs with up to about 300 different emphases in their specific programs. A really great tool that I always encourage students to go to is Degree Search. So degreesearch.arizona.edu. That is the page that you can review all of our different majors, get a description on them, see 4-year sample plans, which I think is really great when they're asking like, oh, what kind of classes am I expected to take? That can kind of give them a snapshot before they even enroll at the University of Arizona and talk to an academic advisor. But of course, the academics are important, but how are we going to support them? There's many ways. So our SALT Center, our Strategic Alternative Learning Technique Center, they serve students with maybe learning and attention challenges that need that little additional support to being a student. So they would meet with one of their specialists weekly to go over their schedule, getting involved in different services, or just involved on clubs and organizations on campus. That is a separate application process. It is also fee-based. So if there are students interested, maybe in the SALT Center, I encourage them to go to one of their informational sessions called A Taste of Salt. So cute play on words there. We then have our A Center, and that is our college for any undecided or undeclared students, as well as pre-med or pre-law. So if there are students still not quite sure, that is totally fine. Have them be undecided, because that is the way that they can explore their interest, get that degree for that future career, and not just wasting time taking classes. We then have our Thrive Center, which is really there to help students thrive on campus. They do have a specific first-gen CATS programming, which is specifically there for our first-generation college students, but any student can actually attend in their programming. And they always have that welcoming environment, mentoring opportunities, again, to encourage students to keep going through and thriving at the U of A. We then have the Think Tank, which is our free or fee-based tutoring services on campus. We really try to encourage students to take advantage of tutoring. Like, it's not a scary thing or a bad thing to go to tutoring. Like, we want them to succeed, and we're going to have those support services there for them. Same thing with our campus health, and also CAPS, which is our counseling and psychological services. So we want them to be a holistically successful student. And so if they need to fill a prescription, need a quick x-ray, need a shot, or just want to talk to someone about their week, we have those kind of sprinkled throughout campus, which is really easy and convenient to get to. And then lastly, our Student Engagement and Career Development Center, similar to kind of what Kyla was talking about earlier with their services, we're going to help them get that job on campus or that future job career as they're approaching graduation or even grad school. So they do different resume workshops, mock interviewing, cover letter writing, personal statement writing, job fairs on campus, like you name it, anything career related, our SECD department is going to be there to support them. As for getting involved on campus, one of the ways I tell students is the best way to get involved is to live on campus. So we have 23 different dorms that a student can choose from, and their priority deadline is April 1st. So as soon as a student is admitted, I say get them to apply for housing, because housing does fill up kind of quickly. So if they have any inkling on dorming on campus, have them complete that application. But students who do live on campus have higher GPAs, as well as a higher four-year graduation rate, which is really just a testament to when you live on campus, you know where the resources are, and you can get to them pretty easily. Though if you live off campus too, that is totally fine. It's just a matter of how you engage with the resources that we have. A little bit about scholarships and grant programs. This is our Merit Wildcat GPA chart. So this is automatically reviewed when a student applies and is based on a student's core, unweighted 6th semester GPA. So no senior year grades will be factored into this calculation. And this is for our Arizona residents. And this is renewable for 8 semesters, or those 4 years. So that'll really help when they're starting to think about budgeting and additional scholarship opportunities. Scholarship Universe is another great tool for students. So again, as soon as they are admitted and create their login, they can access Scholarship Universe, which is kind of like a matching system to scholarships, both internal to the university, but also local and national. So any scholarship that they may think of is probably going to be found on here. And so as soon as they're admitted, encourage them to get into Scholarship Universe, because there's money out there and they can help pay for their college. Of course, we also do have other grant programs alongside the FAFSA, but again, so much more to come with FAFSA. But most everything is going to happen with an application to the University of Arizona, and this is what we need. The core 16 classes, so 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of a lab science, 2 years of the same second language, 2 years of a social science, and one of them do have to be US or American history, and then just one fine art or a CTE class. And so if a student completes all of these 16 core requirements, they can also be assured admissions if they have a 3.0 core GPA in these classes or higher. Of course, we do then have our comprehensive review process. So anyone who falls below that 3.0 or has deficiencies, we still will take a look at all of those credits, as well as an optional personal statement or an optional resume, even test scores if they choose to submit them to us. But those test scores and all of those other things are optional, whereas these courses are truly what we need to make that decision. So just some good reminders for everyone. A fall 24 application is open and live, and that deadline is May 1st. We always encourage students to do everything in the fall, because we know springtime will be busy. There's going to be all the things: tests, graduation, proms. their minds are elsewhere. So as much as they can do in the fall semester, the better, and then more calm that they will feel. But we do have a rolling admission cycle. So once that application is complete, 2 to 4 weeks later, they will get that decision, both in an email and then a packet in the mail. Of course, FAFSA more to come, but our priority filing date is April 1st for many of our different grant programs. So again, as soon as it opens, hopefully this fall, end of fall semester, then they'll be free and clear and we can get them qualified for those institutional grants. And then housing, of course, April 1st is also that priority deadline. There's a $175 non-refundable application fee, but in the grand scheme of things, they will have a dorm to live in versus being on a wait list and not being sure. And then we do have our own W.A. Franke Honors College. And so if students are looking for that little additional experience at the University of Arizona, they do have a separate application process. So they will require a personal resume. They will require a personal statement, and then just one letter of recommendation from a teacher or counselor. We have one deadline, and that is February 1st. If a student is a national scholar, they will get automatic admittance into our Franke Honors College, and they would not have to apply. But if any student has questions about that, feel free to send them our way, and we can always connect them with an honors representative. And then lastly, exploring campus, again, is a great way to just know the campus and know the institution. So we have daily ambassador tours from current students. We have our Arizona experiences, which are geared towards juniors and seniors. Oh, excuse me. And we have 3 more left in this year, but also on our visit webpage, we have a lot of different college sessions, virtual tour options if they can't make it to campus, but also ways to connect with us. So this is our general information, but you can find your specific recruiter at the student's high school by Find My Recruiter page. And so we're always happy to be that resource for students and parents and families. So send them our way. We're happy to chat with them, but I will now pass things over to ASU.
Thank you. We'll have Kyla set up her screen and talk about ASU.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Monique Gomez and I am an assistant director with Arizona State University. So wanted to dive in here, starting with our ASU charter. I won't read all of it, but I will read my favorite piece here, is that we are measured not by whom we exclude, but by whom we include. And so one of the biggest ways that we really do this is through our admissions requirements. We are very transparent. We have them all over our website. We're also very transparent as to what it takes if you want to be at ASU in order to be a part of the community. What does it take to be a Sun Devil, as well as financial aid criteria, requirements, all of that fun stuff. But I also like to share that ASU definitely prides itself on innovation, and we have now been ranked for the 8th year in a row, #1 in the US for innovation. This is actually my favorite slide here because it shows one of our students engaging in virtual reality experience. This is actually a class that is offered at the ASU Tempe campus. It is a biology course that students can take, whether they are decided and have a degree program selected, or they are in more of the exploratory stage and are undecided as to what degree or program they'd like to pursue. Everyone's required to take a biology class or a science course, regardless of what their major degree program is. And so this is a really cool opportunity for students to engage in more of that hands-on experience and really participate and be more so of the leaders in how they learn and the ways that they learn. And so this experience here that you can see is a student obviously more so in a Jurassic Park theme-esque is what I like to refer to it as experience. They get to play scientist throughout the course and they tend to sick dinosaurs. It's a really cool experience. They have 2 different tracks. So they have this one and then they have a different one that's more of like zombie apocalypse focus, but it's a really cool experience for students if they're looking for something like this, or even if you're looking to tour the space. They do definitely schedule tours for people to come and check out our Dreamscape lab. Here's also a snapshot of bird's eye view of the Phoenix area. Here you could see where all of our campuses are located. I've come to find that majority of our students are fairly familiar with the ASU Tempe campus, but then as we branch out, they might not be aware that we have 4 other campuses located kind of all throughout the valley. And so we have our ASU West campus, outskirts of Glendale, and then we have our ASU downtown campus, right here in the heart of Phoenix, smack in the middle. It's a really busy campus. It's also known as our pre-professional campus because our law school is located there, as well as our Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. And then further east here, borderline Chandler Gilbert, we have our ASU Polytechnic campus. This is, excuse me, this is our campus that is more so focused on aeronautical engineering. And then you see there's quite a bit of text all around here, but we do have little blurbs that really highlight partnerships that we've established in the surrounding area, surrounding our campuses for students to take advantage of should they be attending that specific campus. And so here's kind of the 4 squares of representations of our 4 campuses. As you can see, they're all vastly different. There are very specific majors and degree programs offered at each campus based off of the program, the partnerships that ASU has established. So like I said, our downtown campus is our pre-professional campus, home to that law school and also that Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We do have a PBS studio located right on this campus for students that are interested in pursuing a career, whether it be a news anchor, journalism, and they're just interested in learning more about the back end and getting behind the lens. So that's a really cool opportunity there. And then as I said, our Polytechnic campus is more so that aeronautical engineering programs focused. Also, they have a partnership with the Mesa Airport, which is really nice for students that are interested in maybe becoming a pilot. They can go over to the Mesa Airport, log their flight hours, and then return back to campus to wrap up any of their classes. And then our Tempe campus is home to that bio class that I mentioned, our Dreamscape experience, really awesome. They also have majority of our research labs there as well, and they're home to our Pac-12 sports program, as well as the largest college called The College. And then we have our West campus. This campus is home to our forensic science program. So this is also the smallest campus out of the 4. And so if students are interested in studying forensic science, this would be the campus for them. We also have Barrett the Honors College available on all 4 campuses. This is an opportunity for students that are interested in adding an additional layer of rigor to their academic experience. They don't necessarily have to pick which campus they want to be on if they want to be a part of Barrett the Honors College. Like I said, it's available on all 4 campuses. It is a separate application that students would need to submit once they have applied to ASU. Now, diving into financial aid and scholarships, we have our Arizona Promise program. This program is really focusing on covering tuition fees, including those college fees, mandatory student fees, and Barrett Honors fee. Our requirements for the program are, students have to be an Arizona resident. They have to be a first-year student enrolling in the fall semester that immediately follows graduation from high school. And then they have to be a full-time degree-seeking student. They have to have that valid FAFSA on file, eligible for that federal Pell Grant, and it is renewable for 8 semesters if they meet renewal criteria. This is also a program that was very similar to a program that ASU already offers, which is the College Attainment Grant. So you might see some similarities there if you are familiar with our programs. And then we have the Obama Scholars Program. This is similar to Arizona Promise, but it offers a little bit more. It does cover tuition and fees as well. It also covers a portion of housing, food, books, course materials, supplies, and equipment. It is not a full ride scholarship. Notice that we say it is a portion of what it will cover in regards to those different categories there. But again, that criteria for students is being an Arizona resident, first-year student enrolling the fall semester immediately following graduation, making sure that they are full-time degree-seeking students. There is an income threshold for students that they have to meet. And of course, submitting that FAFSA and receiving the federal Pell Grant, as well as making sure they meet all of the course competencies. We do have a deadline for when students should apply and also complete a FAFSA. That is January 15th. That is our deadline to be considered for this program. There is not a separate application for this program. As long as students have completed their application to ASU and they have submitted their FAFSA, they would be considered. And they are eligible to self-report all of the courses and their grades in order to be considered for the program. We do not need an official transcript. So we're super excited because this last year was the first time that we actually were able to award students based on self-reported information, which is huge. And then we also have our New American University Scholarship. This screenshot here is a screenshot of our scholarship estimator tool. This is a great tool for students that are interested in learning more about how much merit-based aid they may be eligible for. It'll ask a series of questions. As you can see here, they're able to plug in their GPA, their class rank, as well as test scores, ACT or SAT. It'll ask where they live and if they are a national scholar, and they'll go ahead and hit that calculate button, and it'll then show them what they may be eligible for. As I said, it is an estimator, so all of this is just an estimate. We can't control what students plug in, and so we always encourage students to just go off of their transcript and plug in as much of that information as they know and they have, if they'd like to get a good ballpark as to what they would be eligible for. One of the things to note of in regards to the scholarship is that award amounts may vary based on the campus of that student's major. So if they make any changes to their major, that might result in a scholarship amount adjustment. And students must, in order to be considered and awarded for this merit scholarship, they have to start at ASU the semester directly after high school graduation. And so if for whatever reason students are needing to defer their application, we do have that option. Students will still need to apply, submit that application, make sure they get everything in, and then we can help guide them through that deferment process. One of the things that I like to highlight is we definitely saw a decline in test scores being submitted. And so ASU is a test optional school. However, it doesn't necessarily mean because we're optional, don't report them. If you have a test score, if your students are taking the ACT or the SAT, please encourage them to submit them to us. We will never use those scores to penalize students. It'll never hurt them. If anything, we will find ways to help them, right? Maybe students are undermatching, maybe they didn't do so well on a specific competency and we can use it and plug it in there. So we always encourage students, just submit your scores. They can definitely retake the tests and submit updated scores as much as as often as they take them up until that May 1st deadline. That is when we will no longer evaluate students. So that's another thing we like to highlight is we will not evaluate students based on GPA changes for merit-based scholarships. So if their student's GPA does change, we will not reevaluate, but we will reevaluate for test scores. So it's important to get those test scores in. We will be updating our awarding for fall for next year. It should be coming out soon, so we should be rolling out that information rather shortly here. But I also like to share our admissions timeline, some things to take note of. As you know, our application is open. It did open in July. Our scholarship portal opened September 1st. September 6th is Barrett the Honors College application is finally open. And so students can definitely apply for Barrett if that is something that they're interested in. November 1st is ASU's priority admissions date, as well as Barrett's early action date. And then we move into January. That is when our housing portal is open. And so we really encourage students to apply early because if they're interested in living on campus, we want to make sure that they're able to make decisions based on financial aid packaging and awarding and all of that fun stuff, and then make a decision for living on campus when the housing portal opens versus having to wait later on into that spring semester to select housing once housing has definitely not necessarily filled up, but the selection has dwindled significantly. Students, we did see that our Arizona resident students were definitely opting to live on campus. And so they actually did get a move on getting their applications and all of their things done early. So they were able to get into that housing portal early. And some of our out-of-state students did not do that. So we did have some students that were having to just kind of, you get what you get type thing. So definitely encourage your students to apply early and get all that stuff done so they can get into that housing portal if that is a desire of theirs. And then January 15th is ASU's regular admissions date, as well as FAFSA priority date, as I mentioned. It's also Barrett's regular decision deadline, and then that Obama Scholars Program deadline as well. And here I leave you with a QR code as well as the website on how to contact your ASU representative. If you have questions, if your students have questions, feel free to share this with them. It will ask them a series of questions such as what high school did you attend? Where's your high school located? All that fun stuff. And then a representative's picture, as well as their email address, phone number, and a link to schedule a virtual appointment will pop up so they can connect with the representative right then and there. And that kind of rounds it out for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monique. I'll kick it over to Dr.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic information and super helpful. I appreciate all of you being willing to share all that. And I know it was cramming like a lot of information in a very short period of time. Do we have any questions that were not answered by anybody that we would like to ask of any of our speakers today? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, wanted to make a couple of announcements. Oh, Pamela, you just came off of mute. Do you have a question?
Yes, I had put it in the chat. I haven't gone back to check if it was answered, but I wanted to see how we could be partner school with the Ask Benji, and also some of these others. I wrote down notes, but I was mostly asking for the Ask Benji because I went to the list of schools participating and we weren't one of them, and I wanted to make sure we do that.
Perfect.
Hey, Pamela. Perfect. Pamela, I'm going to drop my email address in the chat and then we can connect.
Okay, perfect.
And then it does look like we have a couple of questions in the chat from Ruby and Alexandria. I didn't know if you guys wanted to just unmute and then just ask your questions and we can get those going.
I can share Ruby's. Is it possible the FAFSA priority date or Obama scholarship date will be updated based on when the FAFSA will open? I think our most commonly asked question.
I can kick us off.
Thank you.
For ASU, we do not have any plans as of right now to make any changes because we don't know when that date for the FAFSA will be. So once we have more information, then that could possibly change. But as of right now, our date is January 15th.
Thank you. Rachel, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, yes, thank you. I had a question about some of the scholarships that are specific to each school that do require Pell eligibility with FAFSA, and how if undocumented students with Prop 308 somehow might be able to be eligible for those scholarships if they're not able to complete FAFSA.
Jump in, and then I know Kylie, you unmuted as well. There will be another form that those students can fill out for institutional funding, but we're going to wait again on like FAFSA to come out to fully roll out that form as well. But students would be, at least for the University of Arizona, will be invited to fill out that form specifically through their student portal.
And I will add, so the merit-based scholarships don't have anything to do with the FAFSA. So they're all just based on academic merit. And because of Prop 308, we can actually award students with Arizona merit-based scholarships if they are undocumented, which is great. And in terms of institutional aid, that's really where that CSS profile will come into play, because all of us can use that profile to provide students with further institutional funding rather than federal funding. So that is my 2 cents.
Thank you both. And then Alexandra asked, if the students took more than one foreign language, do you only count the first 2 years for the core GPA?
Yeah, so since University of Arizona does take that second language, if they have the same 2 years, great. We're going to take the best of grades, but it has to be within the same language. So if they've taken 2 years of Spanish and 2 years of French, we'll take the best grades out of the both of them. But if it's 1 and 1, unfortunately, that would not qualify. But happy to chat through very specific student scenarios if you want to email us. And then same thing with like the fine art or CTE, since we only need 1, give us the best 1.
Great. Any other questions that might be lingering? Okay, a couple of just quick announcements, and we probably say this every single time we'll meet, but I put in the chat earlier, don't hesitate to join AZCAN, which is our Arizona College Access Network. We need all of your voices at the table, and it's a great opportunity to network and collaborate, as well as have access to our College Access Professional or CAP training courses. We are now about to enter into our 3rd CAP course that starts this coming Monday. And we will be sending out kind of a follow-up to today where we'll have the link to join AZCAN, have the list of courses and registration information for CAP. Also want to remind everybody to put a hold on your calendar for December 1st at ASU West from 8:30 to 2, where we'll be holding our 2023 FAFSA kickoff and AZCAN launch, which is going to be tremendous amount of really important information to support students and families in that FAFSA process, as well as college and career readiness information. We have both state and national speakers coming in to be offering a variety of different breakout sessions. So we're super excited about that. Breakfast and lunch will be served. And again, that's at the ASU West campus. Also want to bring to your attention, the next Lunch and Learn will be focused on our Arizona College Connect. So FAFSA tracking platform, and that will be hosted by ABOR, our fearless FAFSA leader, Julie. So we're excited about that, and we'll include all of the links for the subsequent Lunch and Learns throughout the rest of this semester and next semester. Any other questions, last minute updates, anything that anybody would like to share before we call it a day?
Can you repeat that date for the ASUS FAFSA
Absolutely.
kickoff?
December 1st, Friday, December 1st.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, we'll send out the recording and all of kind of these little tidbits and links and resources for all of you. And I think just so grateful that everybody here was, wanting to be here to hear all of this information. This really does kind of help change the trajectory of how we're supporting students. So thank you to all of our speakers. And Graciela?
Perfect. I was just going to say some of the updated announcements that Dr. Murphy just posted. I'll update that to the slide. So when you get the slide deck, you're going to be like, oh, that wasn't on there when we were looking at it. It's because I will be adding that information to it. So, and hopefully I'll get this out in the next 24 to 48 hours. So definitely keep it. And like I mentioned, Dr. Murphy will have it on the AZCAN resource site, and then we'll have it on the Ask Benji page. So there'll be a couple different ways for you to access the recording in addition to the email that we'll be sending out. And I'll include all our speakers' contact information if you want to have more conversations with Arizona, NAU, and U of A, to all our wonderful speakers. So thank you so much for your time, y'all.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. And we'll stop recording.